What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. Happy Thanksgiving again to those of you that may have watched my top 25 video earlier today. Welcome to my college football playoff and New Year's Six bowl game predictions. It's a big week in the world of college football. We do have some changes to my predictions this week based on the results and events that transpired this past week in the college football world. So there are some changes. We're going to dive into those changes here in a little bit. But first off, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your support on the channel. You're supporting the channel by just interacting with this video, which I really, really do appreciate. But there are other ways you can interact with my channel and give it some support. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, share, ring the bell. Really anything you can to help interact with the channel and support it would mean a lot to me. So whatever you're able to do, I appreciate it. So let's dive on in. College football playoff, New Year's Six bowl game predictions, week 13. It's a big week. A lot is going to change from the week prior. And let's see where my predictions stand right now. Starting off with a game that has been unchanged for a while now. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl, a playoff semifinal. I do have the Ohio State Buckeyes and the TCU Horned Frogs still matching up in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Of course, Ohio State is that favorite to win against Michigan this week, and they've been playing some really good football all year long, and I know that Ohio State has looked vulnerable, and people are saying that the physicality isn't there. We are going to learn a lot, not only about Ohio State this week, but about Michigan as well, and see which team really is for real. And I think both teams are going to come out swinging in that game. Again, I will preview and predict that one tomorrow. But as for the TCU Horned Frogs, this is a team that's been playing well all season long as well, right? And it's a team that has firmly cemented themselves in the playoff. I think probably if they get this win this next week coming up here against Iowa State, maybe the committee thinks, okay, TCU's definitely in the college football playoff now. So we'll definitely see what ends up happening. Again, TCU still is going to have that Big 12 championship game that they have to play. Whether that game's against Kansas State or Texas remains to be seen. And obviously Georgia gets the number 1 seed. This is going to be the 2 versus 3 game. Ohio State and Michigan, the winner of that gets the 2 seed, I think, because I think the winner of that goes and wins the Big 10 championship game pretty handedly there as well, because it's either going to be Iowa or Purdue that ends up coming out of that division in the Big Ten West. So we'll see what happens there with the Big Ten West. Definitely keep an eye on it. But again, the game of importance this week is Ohio State at Michigan. And you'll find out where I have the Wolverines in a little bit. Do I have them at the 4 spot? I don't. And let me explain why. Right now, would put Clemson in the college football playoff. I do not see Clemson losing another game from this point on. And I know you guys are screaming at me, what about USC? What about the Trojans? They should be in the playoff. I just feel like, again, with Pac-12 chaos, the way that the Pac-12 has been these past couple of years, Notre Dame, I know it's a road game for the Fighting Irish, but they still have a pretty good shot to go ahead and go win that game. And then USC, no matter who they happen to face in the Pac-12 championship game, it's going to end up being a dogfight, whether or not it's the game against Washington, whether or not it's the game against Oregon. Now, I definitely feel like Oregon has a little bit better of a chance to beat USC than Washington does, that's for sure. And again, that 4 spot right now is between 3 teams. Clemson, USC, and of course Michigan. Why don't I have the Wolverines in this 4 spot? I definitely feel like Michigan is the 4th best team in the country. But again, if the favorites win out, which is what I am projecting here, if Ohio State wins, if Clemson's able to win out, and USC drops the game here at some point, which is the way that I am projecting things, I feel like they would give the nod to Clemson because of Michigan's non-conference schedule, right? Dubbed, I believe, 2nd worst in FBS this season, and I know they've gotten a little bit of a boost with UConn going to a bowl game and all that, but Colorado State is not good. Hawaii is not good. UConn definitely the best team there, and again, if Michigan and UConn were to play again tomorrow, Michigan would still beat them by 40 points. So it's that non-conference schedule, right? And if they happen to drop that game to Ohio State this upcoming week, probably a really, really good chance to get a marquee win on their slate. Again, Ohio State has some right. That Notre Dame game is starting to look better and better. Wisconsin's still competitive, but they're not as great. Ohio State has already beaten Penn State there as well. For Michigan, the resume is lacking for me. That is why I can't put them at that number 4 spot right now. Again, let's wait and see what happens. But right now, it definitely for me is between Clemson, USC, and Michigan for that number 4 spot. And we'll see what ends up happening here within these next couple of weeks and see who is going to fall where. I still think there's a good chance that Michigan still is in the college football playoff based on how they've looked and how they've performed. But the way the playoff committee has worked in the past, I just see Clemson jumping into that Final Four spot right now. Again, I could be wrong, and this could be totally out of left field. It's just the way that I am projecting the season up until this point. Moving on to some of the other New Year's Six bowl games, you got the Orange Bowl, which I believe right now houses the Alabama Crimson Tide and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Of course, with Clemson going to the playoff, you got to pull the second best ACC team. How about the team that's going to go to an ACC championship game? Give me the North Carolina Tar Heels. This team could end up 9-4, but I still think this team would be the ACC representative in the Orange Bowl here. Again, they were able to win their division. It actually happened a couple of weeks ago, and they're going to be moving on to play in the ACC championship game. So no reason for me to keep North Carolina out. And you guys know the story with Bama, a really, really good team. And as of right now, Bama is projected ahead of Tennessee in the final rankings when they come out. So Bama would end up getting that shot in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Not much explanation to do on this slide right here. All right, moving forward to the Sugar Bowl. Hey, this projection has stayed unchanged for quite some time, right? If Kansas State is able to go ahead and take care of business against Kansas, they're going to find themselves in the Big 12 championship. And I think as long as TCU wins that game, and that's the way I'm projecting it right now, Kansas State will find themselves in a New Year's Six bowl game. And again, it depends. If Texas is able to take care of business against Baylor and Kansas State drops that game to Kansas, I think you'll see Texas in the All-State Sugar Bowl here in a New Year's Six bowl game as that second Big 12 representative. And then, of course, LSU winning their division, going to the SEC championship game. They will get the nod for the All-State Sugar Bowl. So pretty easy there. Again, the only one that can be switched out, in my opinion, right now is Kansas State, right? Will it end up being Texas, or will Kansas State hold their ground? So that's the only other thing I would watch out for. Otherwise, this should be pretty much a lock, and it has been for the past couple of weeks. Moving on to the Cotton Bowl. I got a new Group of 5 team. I know, again, another new Group of 5 team. Listen, Cincinnati right now, especially with the way that UCF... my apologies, especially with the way that UCF looked this past week against Navy. Cincinnati is yet again my favorite for that Group of 5 spot to go ahead and move on to a New Year's Six bowl game. And then Tennessee, that loss against South Carolina only hurt them. And if they drop that game to Vandy this week, Tennessee, you could be looking at a pretty sketchy situation there, right? Could Tennessee miss out on a New Year's Six bowl game? I don't think so. Maybe Penn State jumps them, maybe Oregon jumps them, and Tennessee has to go play in like the Citrus Bowl or something like that. Tennessee will get into a good bowl game, and I don't think they're going to lose to Vandy next week. However, with Hendon Hooker being out, you never know. College football can be crazy. Vandy was able to beat Tennessee in 2016, so you never really know. But as of right now, the way I am projecting things, Tennessee is in a New Year's Six bowl game in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And finally, for the Rose Bowl, I think you guys all know this was coming as soon as you saw my playoff predictions. Michigan and USC. This has been the Rose Bowl a lot of people have been predicting. Again, I just feel that with Michigan's non-conference schedule, that's going to keep them out of that fourth and final playoff spot, even if they were to go lose to the Ohio State Buckeyes here in a couple of days. And then for the USC Trojans, in order for them to get in, they got to take care of business, run the table, beat Notre Dame, and beat whoever they end up playing in the Pac-12 championship game. And I'm not super confident right now in saying that USC will win both of them, because what do you have to do to beat USC? Well, you got to play good defense. Your offense has got to be solid enough, as it's the USC defense that has struggled for a lot of times this year, and you have to not turn the ball over, which teams are very likely able to do against this USC team, especially one as good a caliber as Notre Dame and one as good a caliber as they're going to play in their conference championship game. So I just feel like both of these teams definitely in the running for that fourth and final spot. But the way I'm projecting things right now, I expect both of them to be here playing in the Rose Bowl, which brings an end to my New Year's Six and college football playoff prediction video. Again, here is my bracket as of right now. I know people might think Clemson is a bit of a reach right now and that Clemson probably won't end up getting into that final field of four. But the way I am projecting things as of right now, that is just the way that the cookie crumbles, in my opinion. Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, I feel like are locks for the playoff at this point in time, unless, of course, unless, of course, Ohio State were to lose to Michigan this week. If TCU were to drop that game to Iowa State again, there's a lot that can still happen over this past couple of weeks. I think the only true playoff lock here is Georgia. I think they are definitely in the field of four, no matter what happens, even if because I just don't see a way that they lose to Georgia Tech this upcoming week. And even if LSU were to beat them, I still think Georgia deserves to be in the field of four. But that's going to do it for my playoff predictions here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Anything like that does help support my channel. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.